For a bit of context, this happened to one of my friends who used to do pizza delivery. Now, my friend at the time, his name is Jordan, and this was sometime around maybe his senior year of high school. He took a job in his junior year as a pizza delivery guy, and most of the time he would deliver pizzas, and most of the time he never had a problem with any sort of delivery or anything like that. Until one night, though, in 2016, that was when things started to get really bizarre. Now, it was around springtime, so it was pretty much warm, starting to warm up a little bit, and the snow was starting to go away. However, though, Jordan was pretty much with his other coworkers, and they were about to close up shop, which they were about 5 minutes till closing, when the phone rang. Obviously, when the phone rang, the coworker picked it up, and he ended up telling Jordan that they did did another delivery, which happened to be a pizza. Now Jordan decides to take that as it was a little extra money, so they took that as a good opportunity. However, they took the pizza, whatever leftovers they had left, and they decided that that's what Jordan would take. Jordan drove down the address that was designated, Ned, and he looked to see that it was almost out of the radius of delivery. It was pretty much near the countryside, so it obviously made sense. Jordan started driving, and when he got to that area, the address of the house, he ended up looking, and he saw that it was pretty much abandoned. Like, that was obviously a red flag he noticed, and he obviously had no idea if somebody was in there. At first, he was going to consider leaving, but he decided that he would deliver this pizza and then just go home. He ended up going up to the door and knocking on it, and a woman who happened to be maybe in her early 50s looked at him. "Is that my pizza?" she said. Jordan said yes and explained to her the total. She then gave him the money and said, "Oh, I was supposed to give you a tip. The extra money is in the basement. You want to come in and get it?" Now Jordan realized that this was another red flag. Whatever this woman was doing was certainly not good, and she basically was doing something that a lot of people would not do. Now, he ended up looking around, and he realized that what this woman was planning couldn't be good. He ended up running to the car, and about two men from the house came and chased him. Luckily, Jordan was able to lose them by driving as fast as he could, and that's when he ended up calling the police, and he told his boss and coworker of what actually happened. Now, the police were there, but they couldn't find anyone in the house. Whoever this woman was and whoever those two men were obviously had plans to probably rob Jordan or do God knows what. I don't even know what would have happened to Jordan if he had not leave sooner. So this actually happened to one of my friends back in 2023. Her name was Jessica, and she was living with Zach at the time. This was sometime, I think, in the late winter of 2023, and they had been living together for at least a couple years now. They never really had anything major or anything scary like that happening, but after this story, though, they obviously knew better. However, they've been ordering during food delivery services for at least a few years now, and not once they ever had an issue. However, this story would prove them otherwise. So it was one day, and Jessica and her boyfriend decided that they would order there's something to eat, but they didn't feel like going out. So they ended up decided to, pretty much order out. They order on an app called Skip the Dishes, and of course it was at a McDonald's that they decided to order because they thought it'd be easier and stuff. However, something really weird happened. during that night. Now, Jessica, along with her boyfriend, ordered what appears to be some 2 Big Mac meals with fries and 2 drinks, as well as two sundaes. They even ordered some extra fries with it, as they really liked fries so much. Now, there was this guy that happened to be the delivery guy who came in a black SUV, and he came up to them ordering with their food. Now, Jessica and Zach end up getting their money ready, and when the doorbell rang, the guy said, "Hey there, is this the right house for Jessica and Zach?" As he asked this, Jessica said, "Yes, that is the right house," and they took the food and gave him the money as well as the tip. As soon as they did that, the guy bids them good night and heads back to his SUV and drives off. Now, the story does not end there. Fast forward to around maybe 2 in the morning, and Jessica woke up to use the bathroom. By the time she got back to the bathroom, she ended up getting a notification on her phone saying that someone was at the door. What's really strange was that she ended up hearing this guy mumbling something. She ends up looking and find out that there was that same delivery man. He seemed to be pretty much mumbling something. And she wasn't so sure as to what this guy was doing. And he looked through thinking maybe this guy had forgot something, but that wasn't the case. He ended up looking around and he did mumbling more stuff that obviously they didn't understand what it was. He kept mumbling something and Jessica couldn't make out what this guy was saying. So she ended up speaking through the microphone, asking the guy to please leave the property. However, this guy just smiles at her and doesn't even acknowledge what she was asking. He ends up just talking in some gibberish and he continued to ignore Jessica. Jessica showed her boyfriend, and that's when her boyfriend speaks through the phone saying that he will call the police if the guy does not get off the property. The guy ends up not being fazed by it, and that's when Jessica started to dial 911. This guy then starts trying to bang on the door, begging them to let him in. But however, when the cops showed up, the guy ends up running to try to get to his car. However, that's when the police had arrested him, and of course the cops came and took their statement. As it turns out, this guy had mental issues and he wasn't on meds, which explains why he wanted to break into Jessica and Zach's house. What was his problem and what would he have done if he broke in? We don't even want to know. I could tell that his intentions were never good, even from the delivery order. However, that's when they realized that he had been doing this to other houses, not just Jessica and Zach. Now, Jessica and Zach are now more careful on when they order deliveries, as they don't even know what this guy could have done if he had broke in that house. Now, this took place back maybe 4 years ago, and this was during the global pandemic. This actually happened to one of my friends named Haley at the time of this story. Haley was doing food deliveries as she'd worked for Uber Eats at the time. She needed to make some extra coin as her other job had apparently laid her off when the lockdown began again. Now, it was sometime in 2021 when Haley started taking the food delivery free service so she can earn some extra coin. However, she was doing her deliveries when she got another order from someone for KFC. Now, she ends up deciding to take this order before she stops for the night, as it was a little extra money at the end of the day. So she ends up taking the KFC pickup, and she ends up driving over to this guy's house, which happens to be in the rural side of town. It was somewhat at a trailer park, so it was no doubt. Now, when she got out with the KFC food, she saw a guy who appeared to be a redneck. He happened to be maybe in his mid-50s, and he seems to be very kind and accepted the KFC order. As he paid Haley, he said that he had some delicious cookies in the fridge and he would like her to try some. Now, Haley said no thank you and that she'd be on her way, but this guy kind of frowned, like he couldn't have a toy. He obviously just didn't say anything. He basically said to her to have a good day, and that's when she drives off. Now, that's when things started to get really weird, though. What really was the weirdest thing was that there was this thing that happened. Whatever happened to Haley, she ended up driving home, but she was getting a little uncomfortable with what this guy was saying. Now, I wasn't sure why he wanted her in the house, and why would he put cookies in the fridge? That was just a question that he obviously didn't even know or what to expect. She just continued to do her nightly deliveries, and definitely didn't think of that guy at night. However, fast forward to maybe around a few days later, Haley received a news report that someone had unfortunately been murdered by that same guy who happened to be living in that area. Now, it was the exact same guy who was arrested for whatever the reason may be. Whatever happened, he probably was trying to lure people into his house and rob them. It was definitely something that Haley was glad that it didn't happen to her. What was this guy's intentions were when he first met her was definitely something. And if she went in that house, that trailer with him, she would have been a victim. Apparently he was arrested and he had been sent into jail for at least a while. Haley never did late night deliveries since then, as she gets paranoid thinking that same guy is going to try and order from her again to try and lure her in. It's been a few years since that incident happened, and nothing like that has ever happened since.